Podcast, I will give you a direct point of view, giving you a unique insight into an unfolding investigation into the disappearance of Jay Slater. I was given access to family members, friends, and was able to trace and speak with key witnesses. I will be revealing new information and evidence for the very first time, and along the way, I will share with you my thoughts and assessments as I consider the evidence and the facts. All of this will provide you with a fascinating insight to how I investigate missing persons cases and, crucially, debunk and correct some of the misinformation that exists over what has become a huge media story. Let me take you back to the summer of last year. On the 17th of June 2024, one family's life was to change forever. Jade's mum, Debbie, makes an emotional appeal to the Sun newspaper.
It's over 48 hours now since he was last had any contact with anybody. He's out there somewhere, or somebody knows where he is. It's a nightmare, it's just an absolute living nightmare. It's like a dream, it's like it's not happening. It really is. It really is. I don't wish this on anybody. I just want my baby back. Just please, just anybody who can help, just look for him. There's a massive area up there, massive. We just need to find my baby.
Jay's parents are separated, but are united in their search for Jay.
Just hoping that somebody has helped him off this mountain. That's all I want, is that somebody has helped him get off this mountain. I just want him back. He's my son, right?
If you can put into words what the last few days have been like.
So, nightmare. It's been a nightmare. I just want him back, and that's it.
This news story was now starting to attract real momentum in the UK and further afield, even attracting international attention. British journalists and news crews started to arrive in Tenerife. Sometimes certain stories just attract media attention, and significantly, when they turn into an unfolding mystery, void of information being released by authorities, the vacuum gets filled, attracting greater speculation. Social media playing its part in covering Jay's disappearance, but also the slurry of misinformation and speculation began.
A British teenager is missing on the island of Tenerife. 19-year-old Jay Slater disappeared on the Spanish island on Monday morning, June 17th. He had travelled there for a music festival with friends. A search is underway to find him near the village of Masca.
I became aware of the story and kept a watching brief. I was asked by the media of my views and if I could help the family. Before I became involved, I gave the following comment. I would quickly be able to establish whether or not there are suspicious circumstances, but I need total access to everything and to speak to all the witnesses involved. What I did not say is that I would solve the case. My focus was on identifying if Jay's disappearance had third-party involvement. One early news report I became aware of did raise my suspicions. Around the time, I was contacted by a family member asking for my help, and so I obtained Debbie's number and directly reached out to her. The news report that raised my concern related to a text Debbie received shortly after she landed in Tenerife, which read, "Kiss goodbye to your boy. You're never going to see him again. He owes me a lot of money." Over the next 48 hours, I spoke to Debbie and other members of the family, and it was clear how desperate a state they were in and that they needed help. Debbie was very worried that Jay was being held captive, and that if I came over and the case attracted more publicity, this would put Jay's life at risk. Debbie was holding on to all hope that Jay was still alive, although she had no ransom demands and there was no intelligence or information that either they or the police had to suggest this was the case. It was very clear how desperate Debbie was. She was dealing with her missing son, as well as huge demands from the media for interviews and information. I agreed that I would fly over the next day and help her and the family get answers, and advised Debbie that I would not tell anyone that I was coming over to help, but advised her that when I was seen by the press, it would attract attention. She understood this. My trip and investigation, I explained to Debbie, I would fund fully myself. On arrival in Tenerife, I was picked up from the airport by Jay's uncle and then went and met with Debbie, who was in a very distressed and emotional state. I came out late last night. I met with the family. I met with Debbie, so that's Jay's mum, Debbie's brother and close friend. And we sat and talked for some time to try and get some background in relation to what's taken place. And I need to do some more talking to them this morning to find out how connected the drugs element is to his disappearance. But there is some crucial new pieces of information. That is, a sock that is believed by the family to have belonged to Jay was found in a drain alongside the Airbnb. That's gone off for forensic examination. They've taken DNA from Debbie and we wait for that analysis. The police said that it could be up to 5 days. It's 3 days now since that was sent off. If, of course, that is his sock, that changes everything considerably and it puts a much more sinister element into it. So what are we going to do today? So the focus today is get more background. I need to understand, is drugs connected to his disappearance? No doubt he used drugs on that evening. We know that. But what we now need to know is, has that a relation to his disappearance? There is definitely a drugs underworld here, some Moroccan cartels, some quite nasty people. But is that connected to his disappearance? Also need to find these two black men that he went in a car on his own some distance away to the mountains with. Why? What was that all about? And we also need to follow up in relation to the Snapchat pictures. What is the connection with the Snapchat pictures? Do some more further analysis on those photographs and try to establish, of course, if that is true. Also, we need to do some work around the individual who owns the Airbnb. Is their information they've given us correct? Their sighting, is that factually correct? I wanted to check out that whole area up there. Also need to speak to Lucy May. We need to understand what her connection with all of this. She's gone back now to the UK, and I have concerns about some of the information that she's given, and I suspect she knows a lot more than what she's saying at the moment. I also need to do some inquiries in relation to a guy called Brad, who was out here. He's gone back to the UK as well. I need to speak to him and anybody that had a connection or spoke to Jay whilst he was over here. The other thing we're going to do is set up a hotline. That'll be a Spanish number and a UK number for people to give information. There's lots of phone calls have been coming in to Debbie. She just can't answer them all. There may be a nugget amongst that. So we need to capture all of those pieces of information. She is also having lots and lots of crank calls. People saying, I've got Jay hostage, lots and lots of calls like that. So we need to vet those out and we need to have a press strategy, a very clear press strategy. So we're going to call at some stage today a press conference for tomorrow, and we're going to give out some information which will be a document that sets out a lot of the questions answered and also give an appeal from some member of the family, one or more, but we need to get the police on board. So there's also a aim to get a meeting today with the police, to get the consulate involved, who've been very helpful, and crucially to find out from the police if they are considering this a missing persons investigation or more sinister. What we have to remember is this is a Brit in Tenerife and tourism is central to them. So the three aspects, quite simply, fallen off a cliff, having wandered up, it's very mountainous up there. Third party involvement, so somebody connected to him in those early hours or over the days that he's been here has been involved with his disappearance. Or thirdly, he's wandered off. Those are the three key elements. The parents were very concerned that there's a hostage situation. In other words, he's been held hostage for a ransom. There has been no ransom demand. We're over a week now, highly unlikely, and I can't rule that in. At the moment, it has to be ruled out that there is a hostage situation because there's been no ransom demand in any aspect at all. And of course, in order to have a hostage for a ransom, you need to tell people you want some money. There hasn't been any request for that at all. So let's see what's going on today. There's a lot to be done today. Key now is to spend time with the family and identify the people who I need to speak to in order to build a full background leading up to Jay's disappearance. After speaking to the family and some friends, I pulled together an initial early timeline which will no doubt change. We know that shortly before 6 a.m. on Monday the 17th of June, Jay left the area of Veronica's Strip, Las Americas, in a Capri hire car with two black males casually known to him. Jay and a number of his friends had spent time with them on and off over the previous 2 days. All three males, including Jay, then travelled north via the main motorway, the TF1, to go to the two males' holiday rental Casa Albertina in Masca, which was about an hour's drive away. A few minutes into the journey, Jay posted 2 Snapchats about watches being stolen. The first saying it was a Rolex, and the second saying it was an Aldemira's Piaget AP. We know the exact location that Jay posted the first Snapchat, as we have geolocated the video to be on the TF1 motorway between Siam Park on the right and the hospital on the left, just 1.7 kilometres into their journey. We've been unable to validate the theft of a Rolex or AP watch. However, friends of Jay say he would not make this up, and the watch was later the subject of conversations between them. We know that not long after arriving at the two men's rental, around 7 a.m, Jay had contact with various friends via social media, both inside and outside the rental. During these calls, various video chats were had and pictures sent, including the one he took on the doorstep, which was of Jay. One picture shows him wearing a throw around him. On his feet he had his black and green Air Max trainers, which he had gone out with the night before. We know around 8 a.m, Jay asked a lady outside of the rental property what time the bus left from the bus stop. She responded in Spanish and used hand digits to indicate that the bus leaves at 10 a.m. from the bus stop. After this, Jay walked off, turning left and walking up the hill. Jay had with him his Apple iPhone, and the route he took would have been what Apple Maps shows if following the established hiking trails back to Los Cristianos, where he was staying. Whilst on the walk, he talked to and messaged friends. Whilst walking, Jay spoke to at least 3 people, telling them that he was lost, with little phone battery and without water. He was told to go back to the rental. He said he could not do that, and that he had already been walking 30 minutes, and he was now off the road and walking on a track where there were loose stones. We then know at 08:49 and 08:50, Jay sent his location via both Snapchat and WhatsApp to 2 friends. Crucially, we can confirm that it was Jay using his phone at this stage because it was his voice. He did not say anyone was with him, nor could anyone be heard, and he was not panicking. The most significant piece of information is that when he sent his location, it was fixed by GPS. From this point, no further contact is had with Jay because his phone battery dies. At this stage, I've ruled out a hostage situation because no credible ransom demand has been made, although I am remaining open to this changing. And we have no evidence at this stage to say there was any third-party criminal involvement in Jay's disappearance. However, there are still a number of outstanding actions, and therefore we still remain open-minded to the possibility of this changing. The evidence strongly supports that Jay was walking for at least 30 minutes on the road before going off-road, and he last had contact with friends with a very accurate location pin drop at 08:50. Important for families when someone goes missing and the media are involved to have a clear strategy, but for nearly all of them, this will be the first time they will have dealt with the media, and of course, this is happening at a time when they are in panic mode. That is why it's so important to get help and guidance of how best to manage the press. The family wanted to speak to the press, but were worried about what the Spanish police might think, given that they don't actively work with the press, and so decided against it, but did feel it was important to keep the media on side, and crucially, to find out who the 2 black men were that drove Jay back to their apartment. There are 2 key people to date that we have not spoken to, and these are the 2 men that took Jay back to that holiday rental in the hills. Those 2 men have spoken to the police, but they are now back in England. I urge those 2 people to come forward, and I will give you a telephone number at the end to put out. I have only got a description of the one person because I don't have a photograph of the other person, and the information that the young men are giving me in terms of it is very limited. But I can tell you the one guy, he's about 6 foot tall, he's quite stocky, he had a distinctive, fairly similar to myself, but it was bright orange wristband on, and he is black, and he's got quite short black hair.
Age?
Very difficult to tell, but I think he's probably around 30 to 40. It was also important for the family to ask people to keep looking for Jay. Spent yesterday with them and the night before. They are a very, very united family. They are very supportive, and their one mission, of course, is to find out what happened to Jay. They still live with the hope that Jay will return and that he is not safe but still alive. They have themselves been out searching, and they put up pictures and posters, and of course they are responding to as many inquiries as they possibly can. The position for myself is that I've come over here to investigate. They have sat with me and they have provided me with an in-depth to investigate. They have sat with me and they have provided me with an in-depth insight into what has happened in the hours leading up to Jay's disappearance. I have to date been able to speak to a large number of witnesses who were with him or came across him during that period of time, and they have all been helpful. There are a number of those that are probably not entirely truthful, and I intend to follow up on those people further by cross-referencing them in relation to other witnesses. I need to speak to those people. Those people have crucial information. There will be you as well as many other people who are asking very pertinent questions in relation to why are they here, what were they doing, and why did they take Jay back to that holiday rental. In the short space of time that I have been in Tenerife, I was not only aware that Jay and his friends had been taking a variety of drugs, I was also being told of a sinister drug underworld. I was asked about my thoughts on drugs being connected to Jay's disappearance. I cannot rule that out at the moment, and there is certainly an aspect that concerns me with regards to the drugs, which is definitely a fraternity that exists around here, and in the last 24-48 hours there is definitely information that gives rise for concern around the drug aspect of it. Young people over here, you only need to go down the strip, and in a matter of 30 seconds without getting a car, you will be offered every single drug that you want, and that is a worry of over here. I also made a direct appeal for information. This is about finding Jay, and we need as many people as possible to get involved. And I would urge, as another appeal, not just to those two people, there are people out here who know more. There are people out here who have information, who have seen Jay, who had contact with Jay whilst he was here. If you were in those clubs on that evening or in the early hours of that morning, please come forward and tell us. You may be reluctant to pass that information to the police, but please use a hotline that we will circulate so that people can give us that information. One of Jay's friends is a girl called Lucy. She was the first person to report him missing, and I've been given access to her police statement. Lucy was asked a series of questions, and the answers are written in Spanish and translated into English, with a few words changed so the report makes sense. Report number 2024 004859. The complainant herein states that she arrived on the vacation to the island of Tenerife together with her friend, both of English nationality. They arrived last June 12 and plan to return next June 20 to England. They are staying in an apartment called Victoria Court, Los Cristianos. Last night they went out partying, and her missing friend met with two boys of English nationality, also on vacation on the island of Tenerife, and went with one of these friends to the latter's house, which is also for rent, in the area known as Masca de Bervinita del Norte, on El Trino Street in said area, without further information only. That the house is located in front of the bus stop of said place, next to the restaurant known as Masca. But he had gotten lost. He was in Masca and he had suffered a fall. He was injured on one leg. He didn't have any cell phone battery left, and he was very, very scared. He told his friend that he was afraid of dying. The complainant knows him well. They came on vacation together, and he is very worried about his friend and is sure something serious has happened. At the early stages, I was told Lucy was being evasive and not speaking to anybody. However, she responded almost straight away to my call and was clearly very upset, but really wanted to help. Lucy explained to me that after speaking to Jay, she contacted the police. What did you do straight after that phone call?
Straight after the phone call, I rang the police.
Okay, and so you phoned the police, but you didn't make an official report till 6:15 in the evening, did you?
No, I did. I went to the police. The first thing I did was ring the police. The police kept ending the phone on me on the phone. So I rang my mum and I was like, Mum, I really don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? They're just ending the phone on me. They're not taking this seriously whatsoever. I was like, what do I do? So she was like, just go to the police station and see what they're doing. So I went to, I ran down to the taxi rank, got a taxi straight to the nearest police station to me, which was the Las Americas police station. So I went in and I was like, I need to report somebody missing, and she gave me this piece of paper that said, I can't remember what it said. It said like, you need to go on this website and sorry, I'm not selecting days. My brain's actually not working. I've sold the piece of paper. I can't. My literal brain is not working. Yeah, but this is what I mean. I was trying to make the report. I was literally shooed out of the police station.
Okay.
I kept going, saying, "What's going on? What's happening?" Like, and she gave me this piece of paper, and it said that I needed to go onto my phone.
So what are the two black men that drove the car that Jay was in when they went back to their rental address in the mountains? Who are they? They are absolutely vital witnesses. They are possibly, other than the lady at the bus stop, the last people to see Jay. I asked Lucy what she knew about them.
I have no idea.
Well, why do you not have any idea? You went back in a car with them the next day.
Yeah, I don't know who they are. I don't know. How would I
Brandon,
know who they are?
well, Brandon knows who they are.
He doesn't know who they are. He knows of one of them because he's seen them in a coffee shop before.
But hang on, but Brandon introduced Jay and Brad and you to them, so Brandon must know them. How does he know them? What are they involved in, Lucy? Lucy, you just got to be straight with me here. What are they involved in?
I am being straight. They're not involved in anything together. I don't have a clue. I don't know how he knows them. It's literally passing in a coffee shop. That's all I know.
But you don't pass people in a coffee shop and then
you do.
Okay, what? And then spend 2 nights with them, and then Jay goes back with them. And why are they staying so far away from Los Cristianos?
This is what I mean. I don't know why they're staying up there. I don't know. I had never met these people in my life. I don't know who they are.
But you went in the car with them the next day.
If I knew who they were, I would have been down to them myself.
Okay.
If I knew who they were, I would have been down to them myself, and I would have been saying, what has gone on? Like, I found this house, and I went up, and the door was slightly open. They were just weird. There's something weird about them. But why are they even allowed to leave the country? It's just so many questions.
Okay, so how are we going to find them? Brandon must know who they are.
I don't have a clue. I don't know. This is what I mean. I don't know. If I knew who they were, I would have come and spoke to them myself. I've been trying to do digging to find out who they are, but I'm not no detective.
So does Brandon know who the two black men are? So let's start with the end point, really, is I need to know who these two guys are. The two black guys.
The two fellas that he's obviously house with.
That he went back to the rental with. Who are they?
I don't really know them yet.
Okay.
All I know is, obviously, I've lived in Tenerife for a while, on and off since I was about 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so since I've been living there this time, these fellas called down. So obviously I go out for a drink, like any known girl does. And they come in Sugar Ray sometimes, and this and I don't know them at all. Like, I've seen them a few times in Sugar Ray.
So tell me what their names are.
Don't know what the names are. Don't know the name. I know one of them's nicknamed Johnny or something like that. But I don't know the other fella. Like, I don't even know his name. It begins with R or something like that.
His name begins with R?
Yeah, one of them works in Potter Paper's got. Do you know Potter Paper?
Potter's Paper?
It's called Potter's Garden. One of them works in there. I've been told so they go there every so often, like, they don't actually properly live on the island. They go home for 2 weeks and then might come back for a week.
So if they are telling me the truth, then neither of them know the two black men, other than through social media, and the two men have now deactivated their accounts. One story that has made headlines is one or two possible stolen watches. I want to know more from Lucy, what she can tell me about it. So tell me about the watch.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't.
Lucy, tell me about the watch.
Okay, so I have he sent a message into a group chat of his face, and then turning round saying, "Oh, I've just robbed a watch off this off some CUNT with this Marley kid, and I'm going to sell it for I can't even remember what he said on the message. I'm sure you've already seen it."
And where was the kid? Where was the person with the watch?
The person who had it originally.
Yes. So how did he rob it off him?
This is what I mean. I don't know. I wasn't there. Wasn't there, so I don't know.
So we know Lucy got a call from Jay and reported him missing to the police, and that it was Lucy that identified the rental. But I need to understand how she did this, given she says she did not know who the two men are, nor exactly where they were staying.
So on the first day, I'd ended up finding this house. I'd put on Facebook, like, after I'd been to the police, there was just been no help whatsoever. And I thought, right, I need to go up there myself, like, because they literally not doing anything. So obviously I didn't have a car, I didn't know how I was going to get up there. But I put something on Facebook just before, explaining, like, kind of what had happened and stuff. I just said, like, that came and helped me with, like, what do I do about this, like, because I've never been in this situation before, like, I'm only 18, do you know what I mean? I didn't have a clue, like, what to do in this situation. Like, I think Brad were asleep, everyone were asleep, like, it was only, I don't even know, I was literally on my own with it all. So I put something on Facebook, and this American lady had commented on it saying, I'm on holiday here, and I've got a car if you need any help.
But Lucy, how did you know to go to that location?
Because he's posted a video on his Snapchat story.
And which video are you talking about?
There was a cigarette in it, a white car, obviously all the mountains are very distinctive. If you speak to the lady, the American lady, she can back me up with this. I had no idea where this house were. We were driving around looking for clues. But this is what I mean. I've done this before the police. I'm like, why is it not the police that's done all this? Like, I don't understand.
Okay.
Understand how it's going on.
So much information began to circulate online, a lot of it in relation to drugs. Here is an extract from one post.
This is not fake. She is not innocent at all. I'm a close associate to and others in the Tenerife and Ibiza area. All the rumours are true. Is a drug mule. We work together, about 20 of us split into groups, half to Ibiza and half to Tenerife.
The post goes on to discuss amounts and then quantities.
There were 5 bags, and we got given designated bag holders who would have the bag 24/7. Then we take however much is needed. We separate and go our ways to sell.
I know that the night before Jay's disappearance, he used a variety of different drugs and had also drunk a lot of alcohol, and so his state of mind would definitely have been affected. I was now receiving quite a lot of information about the widespread supply and use of ketamine. That made headlines was in relation to a 14-foot yacht that is alleged to have mysteriously vanished from electronic charts. That morning, the marine tracking system on board a Belgium-registered yacht called Maruba, which provided round-the-island cruises for tourists, was switched off, given its last location as the bay next to where Jay was last seen, leading to much speculation online and in the media that Jay had been abducted and taken elsewhere. But it took us just a few minutes to debunk this theory, We considered this information and ruled it out because we were able to access the full tracking data, and we could see that the Maruba had taken its usual route, a scenic cruise around the islands, and as usual it stopped at that bay for about an hour so that the tourists could swim and take photographs before going on to visit other local islands and returning to its base in Gran Canaria a few hours later. When these yachts stop and drop anchor, their onboard electronics, including the tracking system, are sometimes switched off to conserve battery power. I have a major development. I've been given a name of Ayub Qasim and a number for the person that organised the rental in Masca. It's not Qasim who answers the phone, but a family member.
Hello?
Hello, it's Mark Williams-Thomas.
Yes.
So, are you in contact with Ayub?
Ayub?
Yeah.
Who is it, Ayub? Ayub, yes.
In the call, she did not want to be identified but agreed to set up a time for me to call later when Ayub Qasim would be in. So what is his background? Qasim was jailed in 2015 for his part in a London-based gang who set up a drugs operation from a terraced house in Cardiff to supply heroin and crack cocaine onto the city's streets. The gang operation was uncovered when police officers identified large-scale drug dealing from an address. Qasim, along with 3 other co-offenders, were found at a different address with drugs, cash, mobile phones and digital scales. At trial, Qasim denied any offences but was given a 9-year prison sentence. So Ayub Qasim is a convicted drug supplier and trafficker. Qasim is a close friend with an award-winning rapper, Potter Paper, and is in at least one of the rap artist's music video and appeared on stage with a rapper at an awards ceremony. The rapper owns a shop that sells drugs in Las Americas. These types of shops are known as coffee shops, and from what I've found out about Qasim, he's still very connected and active in the drugs world. I finally managed to track Qasim down.
Hello?
Hello Ayub, it's Mark.
You don't know who it is?
You okay?
Well, not really, mate.
No, I know. You're probably a bit stressed about the whole lot.
Because you released it.
I didn't release your picture at all, or your name.
Lucy's got my Snapchat. We've got each other on social media. I've got Brad. I could chat to the mum. Do you know what I mean, bro? Like I don't need none of all of this.
No, but from my point of view,
I've got journalists showing up at my family.
Yeah, but listen, I can.
Been given out. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, let a guy come to my house because he said to me, mate, they've all left, and chatting to them, they said he wanted to carry on partying. That's the whole reason.
Yeah, he did, I think, didn't he?
I mean, so I'm like, it's an unfortunate situation where I'm being nice and letting someone stay at mine, and now I'm public enemy number 1.
I know, I get that. Are you, when he left?
Raping him, mate. I ain't even raped a woman in my life. Why the fuck would I go and rape him?
Listen,
that's fucking weird, mate.
It is weird.
I don't do that, mate.
Listen, there's so much
media that fucking are trying to look for me and video. They're the type of people that are involved in all of that.
No,
it's proven. The public knows.
When Jay left that morning, were you asleep or did you see him leave?
Mate, he told me I'm getting on a bus to Los Cristianos, and I'm only telling you, bro, just so you.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, tell me.
I don't give a fuck where you put it on, and to be honest, I did enough now.
Okay, go on, tell me.
He said to me, pal, arm off me. This woman told me I can get a bus every 10 minutes. But I told him, you're mad. There's no bus that's coming here every 10 minutes. And chill out for a bit, and I'll drop you off later on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said to me, no, I've got to go to Las Cristianos. I need a scrap. I need to chip out. I'm like, all right, sound, mate. There's no more I can do that.
And did you see him? Did you see him walk off? For you? Did you see him?
No. I seen him walk off maybe down the steps, but I shut the door and said, if you need me, this is my green door.
Okay.
Sweet. And you know what I mean? That's about it, bro. And that's the only info you're getting out. I mean,
I get that.
They're getting
Agreed.
Headache, mate.
Yeah, I get that. So listen, when Jay was stood on your doorstep, he had like that throw over the top of him, which I think was from the bed or something. Is that right?
No, that's a blanket I gave him.
A blanket, yeah. Is that from inside the Airbnb?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. And he showed one of his mates on Snapchat, a picture of 2 knives that he had in his waistband. 2 knives that he says, I've got these for my protection.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Mate, I was asleep upstairs. I don't know about it. This is the first I've heard of knives and all of this, mate.
Was there any arguments at your place?
Mate, like, what?
No, but I just wonder.
Come to my house.
No, but I just wonder why he felt that he needed to have 2 knives.
Look, Mark, I don't know if you say you're a detective, and you know it affects the drugs. Do you know what I mean? Like, they'll make anyone think anything in their heads. Do you know what I mean? So if the only way I can put that to that is that, mate. Do you know what I mean? Knives, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like, people are sleeping upstairs, mate. Like, just all of this narrative needs to fucking get. Do you know what I mean? It's the narrative that people know what they're doing, and the media and all of this, they know what they're doing. They're not stupid. Do you know what I mean? How are you going to put on the bottom, this guy's been cleared, he's not relevant to anyone's investigation, but put up my Airbnb for that.
Who was the person you were with?
No, that's a pile of mine. He's I don't know, I'm not going to involve him or, do you know what I mean? He was sleeping throughout the whole culture.
So did he
went straight to bed as soon as we landed, mate.
So when you got back to the rental, was it just you talking to Jay and the other bloke went to bed?
Mate, I've got videos, Mark. I've got videos of me and Jay laughing at my mate while he's sleeping in the car, bro. I've got Jay in the back of the car smiling his face off, mate. I don't need to say anymore, mate. I literally don't. And that's all you're getting from me, and that's just out of respect for the family.
That was a very significant call. Qasim providing an account, which I now need to check out further. Jay's drop pin location, I believe, is very significant, given it's fixed by GPS, so I need to go to the last location and run some tests as to where location services places you and how it moves from the location when you do. Doing tests in that area shows the location drop is accurate 5 to 10 metres, and we fixed using Jay's drop to the Barranco Juan Lopez hiking path, which also significantly fits the description given, stating that he was now on a stony path. So I'm very confident now, from all the information I know and the evidence having been carefully assessed, that Jay was on the exact pin location, not with anyone, when his phone died, and that is the last confirmed position for him. My investigation has solely been to consider Jay's disappearance and not the physical search. However, I have been in regular contact with one of the main search teams, and I have heard that Jay's mobile phone has been found, which, if true, could be very significant.
No, not at all. We were told by the Guardian Civil about a week and a half ago that someone had found the phone as it had been thrown away. And when we pressed him for more details, he said, I don't know, everything will come out in the media, you just have to wait.
Following this information, I spoke with Debbie and have had it confirmed to me that the phone has not been found. So why was a Spanish official telling people that Jay's phone had been found? We don't know the answer to this, just that it's untrue and very unhelpful, and just adds to speculation and conspiracies. As my investigation continues to establish if there is any third-party involvement in Jay's disappearance and to keep speaking to witnesses, I am told of some very sad news for Jay's family.
Some breaking news to bring you now, and it's been confirmed by the Spanish Civil Guard that the search has been called off to find the missing British teenager.
Coming up in episode 2, what was it that stopped Jay from going back to the rental when he was lost, given he had no water and only 1% battery?
But on the phone, he said to me, I've been walking already for half an hour because I tried to tell him to go back. And he said, I've already been walking half an hour. I'm not going back. I don't want to go back. I just want to go home.
I've been told of an important piece of information about Jay's state of mind.
The night before, when I was awake, before we'd gone home, and he'd messaged me saying, I'm going on a mission.
And what Qasim says, I believe, is very significant and provides real context to a number of very important aspects of the case. This information is revealed for the first time.
In the end, I was like to Brandon, look, Brandon, one of your mates yesterday walked away because he's fucked off for the and he went missing.